Welcome back, everybody. Ben Hochman here with Hochman Fabrication and Speed. We are 3D printing. Whenever you pull off these side skirts on this car, it tends to break these clips and they snap off in several different ways. Butterfly ends of them will break, and other times just the little tabs on them pop into the hole and hold it into place will break. So I'm printing out a bunch of new clips, but you can notice the profile is slightly different. This is the OEM one right here. The tab is slightly different style, far less aggressive slope, and then you'll see this one has what looks like a tooth on the end of it, and that's the end that holds this into position when you put it in the hole under the car. So that's why I am doing this, is because there's 10 on each side. It gets pretty expensive buying them from the dealer at the dealer prices, of course. We are working on a little bit of 3D scanning, and I have become a little obsessed in my free time watching instructional videos and tips and tricks to learn the ins and outs of how this all can be done most effectively and efficiently. Most recently, I had scanned a little plug that we use for building manifolds that sits inside of the head flange for the manifold and holds the little Lego pieces that we use to mock things up. One of them went missing or got damaged, and we needed a new replacement. I scanned it and then went and printed it out of TPU, which is rubber. The results were pretty impressive, but in the meantime, I am gonna do a small video kind of demonstrating the process, since I have a need for some of these little clips. I recently had to take them off because I was having some PDR done. One of the previous owners, or I should say the previous owner, appeared to have gone off track at some point, and we had a really small dent that I didn't even notice. You'd have to be in a certain type of sunlight because it was really low on the vehicle. Well, anyway, I had my PDR guy here requested that I remove the side skirt, so I went ahead and did that, and that's when I realized I probably was gonna need some more of these little clips. I'm using the PETG filler rod that they recommended, or I should say not filler rod, we're not welding here, filament. They just don't seem to have the fit and durability of the original clip. So what I wanna do is just scan the new clip, or the original clip. What I've done is spray it with a little bit of scanning spray, because black and shiny objects, the scanner doesn't like to pick up, so you just simply coat it in some of this spray, and then I like to place it on top of a spacer for the lift because it doesn't like shiny or black objects. So perching this up gives you an opportunity to get low on it, 360-degree scanning minus the bottom side, which you can then flip over, scan, and then merge the two. So that's why this is white. I've just sprayed it, and I'm just setting up to go ahead and scan. What I've got here is a recipe for success, which has a bunch of these points. They're basically global points, and they're a reference for the scanner to understand in 3D space where it is. You can think of them as landmarks when you're driving, so that you know and have a reference of where you're at. When you're moving around an object trying to scan it, it can lose some perspective sometimes, and it needs some reference in order to trace itself back to that and know exactly where it's at around the object. Having as many of those in visibility for the laser as possible and at various angles, which is why you see these little balls that I have that have those reflectors on them, is gonna allow it to always pick up a reference regardless of where I'm at. That's what all of this is. This is how this process works. The first stage is to set up the global marker reference. What I'm gonna do is go ahead and create a new project. We'll call this GT3 clip and proceed to start with scanning. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit preview. We're gonna do a global cloud marker, and then it's going to pick up all of these as a reference. So you can see now as I move around it, it's actually picking up all of these items and putting them on the page. I've got to actually hit start on the scanner for it to start plotting that all out. And you can see they pick up in blue and black, or I'm sorry, blue, red, and green based on how good the reference accuracy is, but as soon as it picks it up, you'll see them appear on the screen as a white dot. So as I move around and pick up all of these reference marks at all different angles, because again, these balls have them at all different weird angles. So I've got to come all the way around here. Normally I have this little lanyard around my wrist. It's not good quality field procedure to have it just floating around here loosely, but making this video, I didn't take that into account. So I'm gonna continue to get all these point references real quick. And once we're done, we'll have all of these on the screen, and my scanner will know exactly where I'm at. And if you're wondering what I'm using the Creality Raptor scanner combined with their software. And so far I'm very happy with it. right, so now that I've got everything scanned for the scanner, it has a global reference for it to use. The next thing that I'm going to do is select that we're going to do a point cloud now instead, and we will resume our scan. Sometimes it takes a little while for the global markers to go through the optimization procedure. All right, so now that we have our reference in the computer, we're going to go ahead and take the little object that we want to scan and put it on its post in the middle and start scanning. Before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and you can see where the coating has kind of come off. It tends to wear away after a little while, so we're going to recoat that real quick and then we'll set it up. And now that we've got that sitting in the middle, we're going to go ahead and use the scanner to start scanning. And I will give you guys a little perspective both of me scanning here and then what I'm seeing on the screen. I am literally just going around the object, and in a moment you'll see what I'm seeing on the screen, but it tells me when I'm too far and when I'm too close and when I'm in the optimized location. And when those little green dot, or when the little dots that are the reference markers show up, they're green and blue and red to inform me when I'm, again, in the right spot or not. Go. So you can see on the left how it's telling me when I'm in the optimal location, too far, too close. And as it picks up all these green, or I should say the dots, they light up green when it's got a good reference, and that's when I'm getting the best data. You can see how that object is starting to appear on that perch. So I'm not as much worried about the bottom stuff. I'm trying to get this clip. So that's really where I'm focused, making sure that I get all the data that I can. You can see how as I'm getting all this data and I'm in the optimized location, the clip is starting to not only appear, but it's changing colors from yellow to blue, and then eventually it'll go from blue to green, and that's when you've got all the best data. This Raptor scanner from Creality also has infrared. Infrared scanning is used for collecting more detail or better detail in most cases, but it does have more sensitivity. So it has taken a bit more learning to get things to work properly. Set up a new fresh reference map for the infrared to scan. I'm gonna go ahead and put my object back into position here. Oops. Need to actually hit point cloud. Forgot to optimize my point cloud. All right, so now we're gonna do a scan using infrared, and you'll see what a difference it makes and what style it is. Just to kind of fast forward through the process, since it can be obviously a little bit vanilla, you'll get scans that are of the various layers. So in this case, this is the orientation that I was scanning it in, and then you'll have a variety of them, which you'll then layer over each other. Because if I look at this one, here's the one was layered with other meshes, but still needs more detail. Once you're all said and done, you'll actually wind up with a solid final design. And if I'm referencing what I'm playing with to begin with, this is the original that I sprayed with that scanning spray. You can see how accurate the scan is on the screen. And as soon as you have that, you can then export it into the design software that Creality offers. Once you get it in there, you'll see that I have the object on the plate, which represents the space on the scanner, or I'm sorry, you can just go ahead and print. There's a lot of cleanup that goes on. There's a lot more work that's gone on, but just showing you guys the process from scan of an object to digitizing, and the fact that we're now able to do this sort of thing is pretty incredible. Here is the final clip, just like the OEM one. Here's the OEM one, and it's still covered in some of the scanning spray. An area right here that's flexible so that when it goes and pops into the hole, clips into there, is an exact replica. It's hollow on the top and through the middle, and it has the tabs that are flexible. Really amazing. So now that these are all printed out, supports pulled off of them and clean them up a little bit, they snap right into position. Real nice. Real snug. We're not doing this and showing this because we're just all excited about making a bunch of plastic clips, and that's what we're gonna use this for. Realistically, this is just a proof of concept, a fun little project to do that proof of concept. We're learning still about all of this technology and how it works and how we can apply it to the motorsports world. Sure, from an entry-level standpoint, having some broken clips that you want to reproduce is an easy way to learn and test the process. Realistically, in the long term, what the plan is to utilize this technology to develop new, better parts, do so in an efficient manner, being able to test them more quickly and get them produced more quickly. These plastic composites like PLA, PETG, carbon fiber, PETG, and carbon fiber PLA, and PLU, which is rubber. We might not be able to print with metal in-house in the short term. We can certainly develop products, have files for those products, and send them out to have them printed in metal from some of our partners that do happen to have the technology and the machinery to do that. Really excited about what is in store for us in our future when it comes to this stuff, and also for our customers. And sure, we can print out some clips along the way if you need them. But a few new and exciting things to look forward to in future episodes. So the day has finally come that we are starting to tune the 81 twin turbo Trans Am. The twin turbo 81 Trans Am is finally on the dyno.